persons and persons with disabilities. This is to help avoid crowds of people gathering at social grant pay points. SASSA spokesperson Paseka Letsatsi has called on beneficiaries to refrain from rushing to receive their grant money, as it could lead to large crowd gatherings and a potential further spread then of COVID-19. My colleague Desiree Chauke spoke to Paseka a little earlier.
Indeed, we can confirm that the payment for both the old age grant and disability grant will be paid on the 30th and the 31st of March 2020 respectively. All other forms of grant will be paid on the 1st of April, and this is as per the directive of the Minister of Social Development, Lindy Wezulu, because the intention is to make sure that we avoid large crowds, especially during paydays.
So you're spreading payouts over several days, as opposed to, do you usually do this process over one day?
No, definitely. I think what we're doing, remember, all grants are paid on the 1st of every month. However, because of the scourge of the COVID-19, we decided that old age and disability grants should be paid on the 30th and the 31st. However, we also want to appeal to our beneficiaries that they must not come to the banks or to the pay points on the first day of the month. Their money will be there in the account, it's secured, it won't go anywhere. Beneficiaries can choose to go to any point of sale, or they can choose to go to any merchant or a bank at the time, which is conducive for them. They can go on the second or the third or any other day, which they deem safe, because we don't want large crowds. We have already spoken to the post office so that there are other cash dispensing machines which are distributed so that we limit people to hundreds.
Is there a process underway, and if so, how far is it of fully automating this process?
We are processes of rolling out the biometrics and so on. But the other thing that we are doing, we are meeting with relevant stakeholders, the intention is to make sure that we have the smooth process of payment as possible, because we know, for an example, that people will panic and they would want to go and get their money and so on. And as we are saying, in some instances, if they don't choose to go to the pay point, because this is where people will flock to, there are other payment channels which beneficiaries can go to. They can go to, like your merchants, they can go to the banks, they've got all other avenues where they can be able to access their money.
Pasika, are you able to tell us what percentage of beneficiaries are automated and their payouts go directly to their bank accounts?
We basically have a number of close to 3 million of people who get their payment. The number of people who get payment from the pay point has reduced drastically, which makes us very happy that people are using available methods which are very much convenient for them. Look, people have the right to choose to go to a pay point. It is their right. However, we would want people to get their money any time or any day. If they want to go on the 4th or the 5th, they can be able to do that.
At last check, and I'm not sure if this is still the case, there were about 17 million beneficiaries, and you say only 3 million of those are able to get them directly through their bank accounts.
I'm specifically referring to 3 million of would have the 2.8 million of the old age. You would have about 1.2 million of the disability grant, and all other about close to 9 to 10 million of the child support grant.
Of course, the conversation changes as well when you're talking about urban or rural areas. Are there different interventions?
There are different interventions. What we have requested, especially in the rural areas where people would prefer mostly the payment through the pay point, we have requested our provincial leadership to make sure that they engage all relevant stakeholders so that this information can be disseminated easily. We are not only going to do through it the media, they are going to engage with the traditional leadership, they are going to engage with the councillors, so that we know that if you use those particular platform, the information can be able to disseminate very easily and quickly to our beneficiaries.
Let's get more now. Just what is happening out in Joburg CBD, of course. Just looking at how things are working out with COVID-19 affecting informal traders who are bound to also get some hurt from this, as of course people try to stay away in many instances. My colleague then, Diabo Sito, is standing by as we get some sense of how things are faring. Diabo, thank you so much for all of that. Look, it certainly isn't going to be business as usual, and I can imagine some informal traders are feeling the same way.
Good afternoon, Arabile. Well, yes, unfortunately, you know, when you are an informal trader, when restrictions such as these come into force where people are forced to stay at home, you are probably the first one to feel the pinch. We are today stationed at the corner of Commissioner and N Street in the CBD of Johannesburg, where I've visited 3 of the informal traders to find out just how much the restrictions that have been imposed on citizens to rather stay at home and to work from home, which would be their customers, how that is impacting on an already fragile business. I say fragile, Arabile, because, you know, the economy has not been doing very well, and they would be the first in line to feel the pinch of an economy that's not doing particularly well. This is why I've asked this lady next to me on my left, Ms. Ngube, to talk to me about how her business is going and, you know, what her concerns are during this COVID-19 restrictions and the pandemic, seeing the numbers rising, and hopefully we'll probably see much more stricter restrictions being enforced. Ms. Ngube, ngiyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi sakho. Ngicela ungitshele kancane ngebusiness lakho ukuthi uthengisa ini lana, uthengisela nabo bani futhi?
Mina ngithengisa ama-neatness, ngithengisela ogwayi, ngithengisela ama-chapisi. Isikhathi esiningi ngiyandisuthengelwa ngabo tax drive.
Manje ngelanga mawubhekile wenza malini nje kwi-business lakho?
Ya ekuqaleni bengithola u-150, manje sengithola noma i-50 rand.
Sethuke kakhulu ngenxa ye-COVID-19 noma i-coronavirus nokuthi izosiphatha kanjani emzimbeni yethu kanye nakumabhizinisi wethu. Wena uzizwa kanjani ngalokho?
Mina i-coronavirus ayingiphathi kahle ngenxa yokuthi yikho bengiphila khona lapha ekuthengiseni kwami. Yikho ukungisizayo nje empilweni yami.
Manje ke uPresident makangathi ucabanga ukuthi sihlale ekhaya singathengisi, ungezwa kunjani?
Mina kwelami side ngeke ngiphile mangingahlala endlini nje kungela lapha engithola khona oncane, angazi ukuthi ngaphila kanjani.
Arabile, Mr. Ngube, just to translate for our viewers who perhaps are not familiar with the isiZulu language, is that she says that if the restrictions are enforced on a business as small as hers, where she sells knickknacks and gum and loose cigarettes, it would impact her severely because this is her only means of income, and that she is also quite scared about the coronavirus or the COVID-19. But let me ask Mr. Alex on my right here, who fixes remote control and other electronics, to find out what his views are with regards to the COVID-19. Alex, thank you very much for your time. I see you fix remote controls and also other appliances. Tell me, what do you think about this coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic, and how are you protecting yourself?
It's terrible, my sister. It's quite very terrible. There's hardly anything we can do about this stage, really. It's affecting us in a big way, because this is how we're making a living out of this. But on the corona protection question, it's not easy. No matter how hard you try to protect yourself, you can hardly protect yourself enough to the point that you can get affected, you see. It depends. We just give it all to God. It's all to God. Because we live with people. Half the times you protect yourself, the next time you find yourself you're not protected. Like you find all over the places, you see people wearing masks, but the next moment they don't have any mask anymore. They're wearing gloves. The next moment they don't have any glove anymore. So
tell me about why you're not wearing gloves. You know, you work in quite an open area where people often touch your goods to look at them. Are you not concerned about that?
I'm concerned, very concerned about it. But yeah, well, as you can see, I was wearing a mask just before you came in. I was wearing my mask. but you see, it's not easy. Yeah, you know, you feel like you're suffocating yourself. So sometimes we take off. I don't know. Anyhow, whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alex. Godson, I'd also want to come to you and to find out, you know, if you are able to protect yourself adequately. You are also selling cell phone covers. Are you able to protect yourself adequately? Can you afford, you know, the protection equipment that is needed? Sorry? You are not able to. Okay, Godson seems to be quite shy there, Arabile, but I suppose I've given you a sense of just the vulnerability of the informal sector, particularly in the CBD, because as you can see, their wares and their goods are heavily exposed, and you can find that people often come here and touch their wares, and you would not know where those people have been. As you can see for yourself as well, that they themselves do not have adequate personal protection gear for themselves, such as masks and gloves, to be able to protect themselves from possible droplets. This is a very vulnerable sector of the small business sector. Unfortunately, you know, the means that have been announced by the Minister of Small Businesses to help the small business community will probably not trickle down to them. Even what the banks have announced, you know, to say that they're giving payment holidays to the tune of 3 months. This is the same group that will probably not be able to get credit facilities at banks. And this just tells you about the vulnerability of the informal traders in the downtown of Johannesburg. And it's back to you in studio, Arabile.
Yeah, certainly does tell you the Malay, the issues, the sad situation that this will bring upon not just rural South Africa, but South Africa as a whole. My colleague Diabo sit out in Johannesburg CBD there, unpacking that one for us, really giving us the nitty-gritties. If you boil down to the small numbers, it certainly matters to us all. Those were your news headlines. We'll be back with more market news right after the short break. Stay tuned.